Hello, gentle followers, or some such. Ben here from Second Dynasty. It is Friday. It means it is time for a Friday stream. And this week has been pretty soft. Soft in the sense of, I feel like I might be directly translating a Swedish expression to English there. In a mjuk vecka. But my meaning is that, post-campaign, that's when things get to calm down a little bit. I got myself some new glasses. I'm getting horrible headaches trying to adjust them, which has been fun. But in general, quite positive. And I am happy to say that today the funds came through for Kickstarter, so that means we're kicking into full production of the Fifth Frontier War, which means I am working on the stuff that I owe that campaign before I move on to whatever we're going to be releasing in February, which is something I'm not prepared to speak about today, but exciting times ahead. So, Albin has been working on the P, what is it,
984. It's
984.
1994, but minus 1 millennium.
The 984. Which is an APC for the Sword Worlds.
Yay!
I don't know if we have, it's just a work in progress at the moment, I think, so.
Should I send a screen grab or something?
Is there anything, if you want to show, just save a version of a Maya file I can open, maybe. But my part is going to be working on the Tlatl, which is a Zhodani Fighter. Mongoose sent me through this screenshot just when I was asking for the stats. This was after I'd started modeling. Obviously, I did start modeling like a fair number of streams back. Tim, no, it's not Nostromo. The Persephone, we're looking probably about May next year. And the reason for that being that it is just, we want to do it right. And we also want to be able to be in a position to do it right. So, yeah, anyway, we'll be talking about that in the coming weeks. It is still getting worked on. Although not actively at the moment. We need to finish doing this campaign first. The Typhon will take us a long way towards making it worthwhile. I also felt a bit comfortable delaying that anyway, since the Alien RPG delayed their announcement of second edition, well, the Kickstarter date for that rather, so not that they're contingent, but having it come out at a similar time will be good. So this is the version that is in the Smallcraft book. The other version that I was actually working off is... Oh, let me just rearrange this. So this is Acrobat here, and hopefully... Oh, wait, you gotta do that. Let me move it over. So this is the Tlatl here on the contents page. And you can immediately see a few differences here from this version. I'm not sure which book came first, but none of them 100% follow the deck plan anyway. The deck plan clearly looks like a single engine. But the primary source I've been going off is this version, where it's a twin engine, by virtue of the fact that you can see two streaks coming from the engines. So that's the thing I've kind of gone off of. And anyone who's familiar with Star Citizen, this area here kind of feels like the sort of panels that you would find on an Aurora, an RSI Aurora. Maybe I can very quickly, let's see, just RSI Aurora, MR or whatever, I'm just looking for an image. So you can kind of see these panels. Let's see, these look very old. on the top. It's probably underneath me right now, so maybe I can just open image in new tab. There we go. We can look at it. So this kind of looks similar to me in this illustration. So one of the beautiful things I found about working with Mongoose's art is actually, in a way, the older Mega Traveller, where they've given us some proper schematic looking images, is that most of the designs are completely incongruent with the deck plans as laid out. The Mongoose stuff varies from art piece to art piece, and the other thing that is different is that usually there's not a huge amount of different perspectives on the same craft. So there's areas of the ship that technically haven't been detailed at all. And why am I going through all of this? Because basically I want to do the big reveal of where we end up at this thing. So from my understanding, past editions, this thing kind of looked like a MiG, or like a cross between maybe a MiG and like a J-35 Viggen. No, sorry, 37. J-37, right.
It looked kind of Russian, the picture you showcased earlier.
Yes, but it also kind of like, yeah, I guess more modern Russian rather than what they might have had in the 80s. So I like this kind of like this forward area to me. It kind of reminds me of the Lego canopies that we had back in the day. So there are a couple of things that I wanted to preserve, but one thing I did notice when I was converting this to 3D is I had a very short version, and this thing ended up being quite different in proportions, the same as the deck plans. You can see the nose is a lot longer. So what I've created is a compromise between the two different designs, and today we're going to be detailing some paneling. Maya is not being cooperative. I've had 7 crashes this afternoon.
Oh, shit, 7.
4 of them were recoverable, so I haven't lost more than maybe half an hour of work, but hopefully it won't crash whilst on stream. I did clean the scene, but between that and the headaches I have from these glasses, I'm not in a fantastic mood. So I might have a look at the chat in a little bit. Hi everyone that is saying hi, so let's see. Shout out to Clive, Derivative Content, Solo Spirit, Shergel, Neil, J Voice, Tamsin, Tim, Duck Force 1, Sam, Kathy, Anders. Yeah, nice to see you, crew. Nice to see people back again, and it does feel good that we have a very slow but we have slow growth but loyal, and what I love the most is that people actually get involved in the chat. Okay, it looks like the Firefox. Maybe that's where the Soviet sort of feel is coming from, right? Because isn't that a film about a Soviet fighter that goes off like brainwaves or something? Anyway, without further ado, here is my Tlatl. Let's see, let me turn on the graphics, and you can see that I've kind of gone for, I thought this mirrored, apparently not. I forgot to add that. Let's add that in, combine these, and reduplicate that out. So there we go. So we've got our Tlatl. I kept the twin engines. You can see the lower area is not detailed yet, and I wanted to create something that kind of has that futuristic feel. It does have some sharp lines at the back. I kept that sort of angular front, and I've kind of in the process of going through and detailing, you know, that there's not so many panel lines on the hard surfaces here aside from up there. I mean, these are these are completely different fighters, to be honest. Like, they share some DNA. And yeah, so I'm doing some panel lining based on this thing, and then also looking at this. And in some ways, I'm also grateful that the graphic that I got sent wasn't that high detail. But yeah, so this is our result. Let's see what people are saying. Good morning from Ottawa. Well, good morning to you too, Brian. And let's see. Yes, Clint Eastwood was in Firefox. 82, alright. I feel like I need to see that again. But yeah, I kind of like the geometry here with the fighter. We're not worried about the interior of the ship, even though we do have like a deck plan for what's in there. It's not like a crew accessible compartment, right? So we're not worried about that. One of the other major incongruencies that we need to address is the size of the weapon. Even here, it's absolutely massive. Same with this one. But what I did instead was I imported in the Beowulf. Let me just open my workshop. Hope this doesn't crash. And actually I can probably turn off the lighting and that will help. So there's a lot of nonsense going on in here, but what you can see is I imported some of the weapons from our Operation Maelstrom to get an indication of the sort of size that we should expect. And this is one of the turrets from the Beowulf turret series. Actually, I'm going to open a second copy of mine. We're going to roll the die a little bit. Are you going to add a microwave like the B2 has? A microwave. Like I said, it's just a cockpit-based fighter, so I don't think so. It has a microwave. Does it have a toilet?
Combo.
Because those bombers are quite slow too. So yeah, you can kind of see the mess that this is. I don't think that's causing most of the issues. You can see even some of my early designs for the Rampart Mark III with the forward swept wings in there. And then of course, there is a difference in the deck plan there with where the Rampart is in size-wise. Like, excuse the shader difference there. Like, technically this is 8 tons and this is 10 tons. And like most of this is wing, but like there's some incongruencies. I wanted to bring this closer in line with the existing deck plan. Yeah, I don't know how that's supposed to work, to be honest. And John's probably going to kill me looking at the size difference here, but hopefully most of it is just wing. I guess I'll be paying the difference. Anyway, yeah, so I'm just in the process of adding a little bit of detail. Cockpit's not a huge difference from our regular models. Normally, you know, we just want something that'll fit the pilot. And yeah, this weapons port will be compatible with all of our Operation Maelstrom style weapons. I might do something closer to the original art with just a long barrel as an option, but I'm not sure yet. Found on the internet the B2 actually has a bed, a toilet and a microwave aboard. Well, you would want to hope so. So it's a camper with a nuclear arsenal. Let's see, I just want to go into my turrets catalog. This is not complete, but this is also one of the things we've been doing lately. We have so many items that they can be quite hard to find, and especially for poor Alvin.
It was really good. I had a look earlier today. I really like it.
With the turrets.
Yeah, I looked through all of them, I think.
Yeah, they're just works in progresses, but I wanted to have a scene where we have a copy of all of the different turrets and turret options. I found at least another 5 that aren't on here yet. But basically the idea being that we could almost create the turrets in this scene in the future. And then export them from there so that they're kept in line. But yeah, you kind of have your turrets pack 1, 2, 3, 4, your different size turrets. We only have 2 different sizes at present. And then, yeah, a few other smaller options that I'm not sure all of them made it in or where they're from necessarily. But you can see here, these are the Beowulf turrets, and this is the barrel that I literally stole, one of these ones. They are short and stubby, so compared to some of ours, you know, there is a bit of room to get a bit bigger. But if you wanted to, like, in theory, if you look at the diagrams on the even the Mongoose Traveller deck plans, the turrets aren't that big. And I think our turrets are actually a bit larger than what they would be on a Traveller deck plan, because they'd be closer to, let me turn on my grid for a look. So yeah, these are 2 inches in diameter. Whereas I think the ones on the deck plans are closer to 1. So you can see where the issues pop up. This is just one of the things I've come to accept about Traveller. And Mongoose is way more flexible than I thought they would be. They care a lot about specifically Imperial designs and, you know, alien races, how they're supposed to look. But less so for ships and generic items and that sort of thing. So there is some potential there for us to be able to leave an impression behind. But we're creating catalogs for this for all our landing gear, all that. This is internal stuff, by the way, just so that when we're creating something new, we can either quickly and easily find where something's come from. And this will be useful even, for example, if we get an intern or expand the company in the future, or something happens and it needs to be passed on to someone that's not familiar with our processes, so that they can quickly and easily find stuff. And some of them are even unpublished. Like, I don't think we ever published this version of the Mark 23 turret, which doesn't actually have a manned version. I was even considering doing a 3rd barrel there as an option. But as of yet, I guess the hatch is like for maintenance. I don't know. But then the other thing too is, like, compared, these scenes are supposed to be a lot cleaner than a lot of the other ones. There is a little bit of cleanup that needs doing. Like I said, a few more turrets that need adding. But we're also planning to make ones for, like, Greeblies and Nernies, which is just basically stuff to make models look busy, that we can rip off other things. The idea is it can help us speed up our process of creation. And like some of the fantastic work that Albin's been able to do with, for example, next month's Triad releases, in part, like, each of those models looks better and better because we have so many past models that we can say, okay, we want this handle from this door, or we want this detail to place somewhere else. Played in a Traveller campaign where the other players insisted that ship's turrets were all ball turrets. Okay. This is a visually pleasing scene. Yeah, I agree. Fun when the turret my PC was manning was shot off and found himself falling towards a gas giant. That sounds unfortunate. Anyway, let's move that and get back into our scene and work on what we are working on. So, for something that started out as, in early editions, just as a MiG, this does look plane-like, but so does the source material. I think we've added a couple of interesting shapes to it. I could maybe just turn off the visual representation of the lighting here, like by turning it off in the viewport. It won't take the lighting off, yeah, but it will give us a generic background to compare this to. So, and we could switch that to black maybe. So yeah, this is what I have come up with. And I guess we need, somewhere under here, we'll need like a connector for our stand. Just need to kind of figure out where the center of gravity is. And John is on holidays until Monday, so I don't want to talk to him about how we're going to most effectively divide this up into parts until he is back. But I suspect we're probably going to put a line through the middle here somewhere. The wings will be separate, the cannons will be separate. There still is a little bit of detailing that we need to do, and I think I'll probably revise these little flares. You can kind of see them here, and even actually on the outside of these wings. I'll probably make them flush with the wing so that the wing can print out like so, and that way we can have our pointy front bits. And these are just placeholders at the moment. The last thing I was doing before anything else was just working on these grills at the back. I want to make sure those are the only things selected there. It looks like it. And some of the DNA for what I just made was already in the existing art, and some of it is completely new. So, for example, my interpretation of this part with that sort of like Aurora type blade wing thing, always disappointed me that these weren't actual wings that could fold out, because they really do look like they should be. Maybe they are, and I just haven't played the game in a very long time. But yeah, I think we've added more of an interesting shape to something. We can have a look at the different views. Let's get rid of the grid there, get rid of the grid there, and we want that on 6. Let's remove the lighting there. So it's not in the way, so you can get a good idea about like what it looks like from different perspectives. The belly looks a little shuttly. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's a fighter. I don't think having a backup or like, I could have made the wings all align as well, because like we don't really, I suppose the cannons look a little bit higher there. But I mean this, yeah, I'm glad I started modeling the other version first, if I'm honest. And I was also talking to Mongoose about the Gripen, which is a Sword Worlds fighter. And let's see, get a little bit of light in this scene. And actually we'll go to the left on this one, just so we can see a little bit better. I talked to Mongoose about the Sword Worlds fighter, the Gripen, and pitched an idea to them, and they were like, hey, we're good with that. So the design I'll be doing won't be the art as illustrated. And my plan is to basically take the deck plan that they have for that fighter, and then take inspiration from the Saab 35 Draken as the main point of reference. But anyway, I've talked a little bit too much already. I'm going to save the scene as it is before we get any more issues, and let's start adding some more paneling to this thing. So I was working on this area under the wing. Some of this involves redoing some of the geometry, so it's just going to have a better flow. And this is also where I started getting crashes. So hopefully I can minimize the issues there. We need our vertex snap-on. Oh, that's right, I was going to show, do you have that scene ready?
I sent the link to Discord.
Yeah, I don't usually check Discord while I'm streaming.
It's called...
I'll find it. Let me guess. Stream preview FFW Sword Worlds APC. Could it be that one?
Rolls of your tongue.
Alrighty. So yeah, we've got this work in progress here that Albin's been doing. So we are in full production. There's a couple of different images of this thing, so it's been an interesting challenge interpreting the design.
I mean, if I just put something in there, comment-wise, you think I could have come over to you. you think it's kind of simple, it's like a box. But determining the base shape, I don't know why, but I found it quite difficult.
Yes, now you know what I've been living with for 2.5 years. So, yeah. That,
so I'm just about to start to add some details, but I did something on the side panel over there. I think it's, yeah. There's some swords on that side, I think.
Yes, you put the symbol in.
Yay!
Alright. I'm kind of tempted to
Delete everything.
not delete, but yeah, I don't know. So we're kind of figuring out the design from what we have to look at. And there's incongruencies between them, although this one looks like it has been based on a 3D model. Anyway, I just wanted to show that off a little bit. Maybe these need to be a bit further out. I reckon these are like repulsor pads, basically. Like on a Star Wars skiff, or the thing I mainly thought of was the Nebuchadnezzar from The Matrix, with all its sort of like repulsor
Pills or...
well, I guess, yeah, shields or whatever you want to call them. Kind of look like around like 60s or 70s style table, but in any case, yeah, this is the progress that we had. This design needs finalizing after John gets back too, because we just want to make sure that we are building the designs based on what is going to be most effective to print. And the APCs do have interiors, at least for the troop section. Anyway, just wanted to show that off. Back to the Tlatl. What a mouthful.
Is that from Tlatl?
No.
Like the...
No, it's just Zhodani. And it's unnecessarily convoluted, if you ask me, but no one is asking me. So, right?
I'm asking you though.
In which case, I don't know. Not entirely true. So, let's see, where were we? This line here is the old line. So, I was just cleaning up this geometry a little bit, and we want this entire line to be in line with the grid. So I'm just going in real close to where it is. I want my grid back on, and I want my grid snap on. Oh, and good, that looks like it's very messy. I love seeing that. Anyway. So yeah, it's just one of those things that we get into at a certain point. And adding the detail, I'm thinking about like, how well is this going to print? Some of these details aren't going to stick out a huge amount. So I'm just trying to keep it aligned with this so I can see which angle is most important here. I don't know if I need to drag some of these down to that line, because it looks like they're all sort of sticking out. Did that fix anything, or did it create more problems? Oh, that didn't look good at all. Okay, so we're not gonna mess with that part. Yeah, no, that did not work out. And I'm going to turn the lighting off here just because I'm finding it hard to see. So it looks like we need to follow this line, and we need it to line up with that. So let's go to there, that will become there. This will go there, this will go there. And then at a certain point, we can combine these with a good old-fashioned merge vertices operation, and then it should just select this one line, and double checking in this viewport, we want it down the middle there so we can delete that. And if this line is directly on the grid, we're not going to see it, which is what's occurring here. You can see it's sort of like semi-highlighted. Hey Dalton. Cyberpunk Grav vehicles, yeah, it's kind of like that too. Cyberpunk. We created Cyberpunk 2020 characters last night at role-playing. So, I want to add some additional paneling here. I need to determine where I'm going to divide this up. This is a bit of an odd shape. You can kind of see it starts convex here, and then it turns concave towards the back. So we probably want to look for where that shifting point is, where it's relatively straight. It looks like it's about there. And that's probably where we want to start thinking about adding a panel line. So in this case, I'm not going to be too worried about my grid. I'm just trying to create something that looks like it's more in keeping with the shape. And then afterwards I might worry about... Great, it's a full crash.
No.
Which means all my progress is ruined. I really don't know why it's doing this today. And the worst thing is it looks like I just have a freeze frame there, so... Yeah, we can open Albin's scene, but not mine. So we'll see how long the stream lasts today, because I can tell you what, I'm at my limit between the glasses giving me headaches, it being Friday, and now 8 crashes. Let's see, the last time this was saved was at 3:24, so we've lost about 8 minutes. That's not too bad. Let's open it back up, do it all again. It always goes quicker the second time, but I also need to, just for stability's sake, I need to make sure I kill that other process. So this one, that's frozen. I'm going to take a gamble and say it's this one. No, it was the other one. Damn it. Oh well. Meyer has fallen. Let's see. Back to Meyer.
It's freaking weird though, because I mean that's basically a new scene.
No, well, it was built on top of the rampart, but yeah, I don't understand why it's doing it. And Maya's not very good at explaining what actually happened. Like, they're like, oh, send us a report. It's like, can't you tell us what happened? And they're like, no. That's proprietary information.
Silly.
So this can be our lives. Fortunately, most scenes don't work like this, but this one in particular just seems to be rabid, and I'm wondering if it's because we have some kind of holdovers. Let's see, optimize scene size. Let's look at our DAG, non-DAG objects. Oh, it does have some objects that have this FBX tag, and I have noted that they can be associated with, let's see, this is on the rampart in particular. So missile holder, that's just the landing gear. You know what, to be safe, we're going to select everything in the rampart and we're going to delete it. We're not going to have it in this scene. If we want it, we can just bring it back in again. We also don't need that one. And I'm just going to make sure there's nothing here that is, let's see if we also delete the history on most of the objects. Just looking for making sure there's like no red shift shaders or anything. Oh, there are.
That's weird.
There's actually 2 shaders that look like they're red shift, which is odd. And the weirder thing is, they look like they're in use. So that's probably... Wait, what? That's a ramp. Oh! No, I was looking up red. There were 2 Redshift things in there that shouldn't be in there. So Redshift is an older style shader that we used to have as a plugin. And it was the only way to do GPU rendering, that is rendering with our graphics processing unit. However, there was a slight issue with that when Maya integrated with Arnold, and then we wanted to switch to that because it wasn't costing us, you know, however many hundreds of dollars a year per copy. And whilst Redshift technically probably is better, and let's also go in Windows settings and preferences. Let's go into plugin manager, turn off Redshift completely, forcing that. Because if there's a couple of Redshift nodes hidden in here, it will try and load that plugin every time. So, and then if I just optimize the scene one more time, it gets rid of everything that could be in the way. So hopefully we don't get a crash again. I'm out of ideas if it happens again though. Let's see. So I guess we get to, for the 4th or 5th time, redo this this particular part. I'd really like to just get to a point where I can start extruding again. That's funny because you could say that about 3D printing as well. Hey Dalton, do you have your resin printers going yet?
Oh. Sounds like fun.
Oh, maybe what, you're enjoying resin printers now?
No. Honestly, since we got the new printer, the amount of pain I feel has reduced significantly.
Excellent.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, thanks, John. Once again, he has proven himself invaluable to the Second Dynasty team. I truly hope he never decides, I don't like spaceships. And I don't need to do this. We'll be screwed. Yes, you have the Saturn 4. Yeah, you have a... Oh, you've been using it though. Excellent. The Saturn 4 Ultra. Okay, so that was that dividing line again. And looking at this surface, we can probably... Let's get cheeky and do a panel here. Yeah, just a straight extrusion. This is kind of my favorite part of design because it's where you can start to see things happening, like the detail popping. Let's say I need a very, very small offset here. 0.5. Actually, no, I don't want to do that way. How are we going to do this? We're going to create some additional geometry and we'll see what we can do. Like that, and we'll do the same over here. So I'm just trying to break up the hull a little bit with some detail. And what I was thinking is we could create some lines. Just realigning some things here. So I'm just going to take a chunk out of there and a chunk out of there, I'm thinking. But first we kind of want to... I don't need it to be perfectly lining up. I don't like the way that this geometry is playing with its neighbors, but I guess what I'd like to do is kind of grab these and hopefully I can just do an extrusion down like so. Delete some of this geometry and then recreate it. Oops. There we go. Delete that, delete that, delete that, delete that. And we should be able to start some bridging. And then the last ones we should just be able to fill. But we do have a different shader on. So let's go to our blue-gray. And there, we've just got this slight, more interesting panel in there that in the hole is just going to help break it up a little bit. And we provide ourselves with some options of where we're going to split the hull up. Let's see. You've been working with the Fantasy Age of Sail ships to practice. No resin or IPA fumes in the house is my rule. Says Shergold. Dalton says I ended up totally insulating my garage. Dalton's plan was like regimented. I want to say very well thought out. Yeah, you should take some pictures and share it in the Discord in the printing channel. Neil says I have one PLA printer, don't have room for resin printer in my tiny flat. No, that's understandable. PLA, I think, in with like a bamboo or something, is a nice compromise. Does make a little bit of noise, but how much noise do the resin printers make?
It does make some noise as well, I'd say, but it's more like timed or whatever.
Okay. So it's more like a constant noise, right? Like fans?
I would say like the FDM printers are more constant in comparison. So you have more disruptive noise when it moves the printer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This one is way more quiet than the previous one though.
Okay. Now where did we have our line? Let's look for it again. We want convex to concave. This looks like a straight line here. Oh, it was way off. But we will maybe make the line there. And that should be relatively straight-ish. Okay, that one's a bit better. So I'm just going to erase this. We may well clean all of this up later, I'm not sure. But I just wanted to, we want to add another panel here. So we're going to grab all of these. Let's see there. If I had my way, and to be fair, I haven't really pitched my way, but I would have redesigned the Zhodani base more on the old Ninth Scout look. So a lot more organic. I would be making a hell of a lot more work for myself. But it kind of feels like the Zhodani should be more distinct.
Kind of funny. I think Dalton wrote almost the exact same thing earlier in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, I have to work within the bounds that we have to work with. Yeah. So I'm happy with how things are progressing. Let's see, I think I will do an extrusion there too. 0.2, 0.2. That feels a bit too brutish. Sometimes you can just like make it a bit smaller every now and then. This one we could make 0.2. Whoa, that was 2. I mean, that'll work, but we want it to still feel sleek and aerodynamic, but just have a little bit more going on. And actually at the front we even have some more panel lining that I've been putting in. And mostly we go with an extrusion outwards. Sometimes we want to, like here, I think maybe just something like doing a little sort of shark gill type shape could make this more interesting. So if I turn off my snapping, I'm just going to create some indentations here. And I don't mean like, I'm not going to fully follow this shape. Although, that could also be interesting. I'm going to see how it looks. Let's see. So we could just Maybe not both sides. Maybe we just do something like this. Sometimes designs are interesting to explore, other times not. Okay, something went wrong here with my snapping. There we go, must have not had it on 50%. Alright, I see the chat moving a lot. Let's see. Showgirl says print / clean / cure is okay. It's making sure you don't spill that is regimented. Modale says resin printer noise is mainly fan noise. The biggest issue is the smell and fumes. And yeah, we have a dungeon for that. It's where Alvin goes to at the end of the day. It's actually where we keep John between seasons. Doug Jeffrey says, my FDM sings as it prints. That sounds like my old Flash Forge used to go. Kind of like, some kind of superhero theme song. Neil says, I have an Anycubic printer, not even had it a month. It's busy printing parts of the Pegasus at the moment. So I take it it's an FDM then. It's not that noisy. No, a lot of modern printers are quite quiet, and you can make them go faster and make more noise. We have soundproofed our printer room. John did that too. It's funny, like, he does all the things that we can't be bothered doing. So that's why I'm in part very happy to host him whenever he wants to come over. Let's see, let's grab these and see how this looks. And I'm just going to go in minus 0.1. And then what I'll do is actually go down minus 0.5. And all of a sudden, I don't know what you guys think, but I think that really broke up the side panels there. I might be tempted to come back in. See, at the moment we've got this mirroring this side of the fighter. So what I would be tempted to come back in and do later is add a bit of asymmetry. So for example, on one side we might add just a panel for like refueling, and I'm not saying that's what it is. Here you might add something that you could conceivably fold open and it has like a ladder or something safe to step on. That sort of thing. The landing gear, I don't know yet if we're going, this will be the final version, but yeah, like these little intakes at the bottom too, like there's no detail of this anywhere else. There's no real good reason for it, but for me it's more about just breaking up the shape. And why don't we get some shaders into here as well? And oh good, they were already selected, so we should just be able to go and select a black stripe. And then we should be able to do the same here. Oh man.
Oh shit.
That's one of the most annoying things. Oops. Did you have something to say?
Yeah, I got like a flashback to something when you said, oh man. I can't remember. Is it like Gravity Falls or something?
I don't know. I haven't seen that show.
Intonation.
Alright. So, yeah, you can kind of see the lines starting to really make this thing pop. And actually, that, you know, the Star Citizen image is a good example of, you know, a good mix of physical elements and decals. Like, these would make fantastic 3D prints. Well, not the angles, but like the sort of level of detail and that sort of thing. So definitely like has been a form of inspiration. I'm kind of feeling like these little holes are maybe a bit too big, but it could also be the shader. I'm not sure. I might go back and look at that in the future. Especially now adding these smaller ones. So let's see. Oh, a couple of days ago, I realized how close last week's stream's orb ship was to a Traveller X boat. Is there any chance you'll do an interior that will allow it to be used as a variant X boat design? I mean, the interior is going to use GridForge, so you can configure it how you like. I don't know if there are plans to do our Traveller floor tiles, but honestly, I don't think it makes that much of a difference. Only if it doesn't interfere with the space bodega, of course. Dalton says, I think I will post into the work in progress channel showing how I converted the garage into a print studio. I mean, technically the work in progress was meant to be for like us showing our work in progress, but it's just become a catch-all for anything, so I suppose it's all good there. And we're also guilty of posting in different areas that are more relevant to, say, for example, posting this one in the Traveller channel. So wherever you like. I think in the last 10 minutes we can make this look a bit more complete by doing some wing detailing. Note at the moment, this is actually not even a decal or something that we're going to build onto the model. It literally is just, I converted a Traveller font with the Zhodani symbol to a geometry just to make a cheat render. Obviously decals would be much better for this. So let's look and see what we got to work with on these wings. This is a bunch of nonsense. It looks like it's just busy work. And this one looks like it makes a little bit more sense, so I'll probably be drawing from this one a little bit more. It doesn't really look like there are, aside from maybe the back, there's some control surfaces, but in general, like, this is Traveller, so if there are control surfaces, I think they're like a backup. So I've just moved that image over to my other screen there. And there are some aspects of this wing I like, some that I don't. I think maybe it needs another pass, because it might feel a little bit blocky. I'm not sure, but my idea was that I'm going to, I don't know why I did this, but I'm going to harden this edge again so that there's a clear separation in this wing and in certain parts of it. And I think the best way to do that is to create, I'm pointing to things on my other screen, but we're just going to create some paneling. And I don't want to cover my chat too, that's not the best. So let's see. Good looking ship. Thanks, Doug. Looking great already. Thank you, Tim. Right, so there is the section where it connects to the ship. I think if we, I don't want to, I might even actually just separate this now because I know that this is where I want to split things. This wing will just attach to that section. We might have this split approximately in that line and at this line. The canards will attach. I have some ideas about how to do that, but basically I don't think they'll be moving canards. And I guess in the image they are a little bit more aerodynamic. I don't know. It kind of reminds me a little bit more of like a flexible wing more than anything else, and it would make kind of sense with the Traveller technology levels, but there's nothing specifically saying that. So I think we will open this up by just taking the greater amount of space on this wing and say moving to, let me see. If that was a line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should be something, whoops, something like this. Why does it keep doing that? Oh, I hate Maya when it doesn't cooperate. Oh. Yeah, I'm just going to do a manual selection here. And the paneling is quite subtle normally. The big thing that I'm concerned about is I want this symbol to be able to fit onto the wing somewhere around there, so I might actually expand this out all the way to, oh, this is really frustrating. It keeps selecting all this other nonsense as well. Like, what is this? Wi-Fi is just not cooperating. Actually, that's a reminder to save. So I want to keep this as a panel, a single piece panel to begin with. So I'm just going to do a 0.2.2, and that's 0.2 millimeters, by the way, in case anyone's wondering. But already, just even having that, obviously it does affect where these symbols are popping up. But if we, for example, were to move that more to the center line, for example, I want there to be a flat surface that you could put your decal. You want to watch Robotech again? Actually, if you're in the US, I think Macross is coming to Disney Plus, and rather than rewatching Robotech, you should watch all the sequels of the original. It's not a massive difference. This kind of feels like it needs... I'm going to do a bit of my own sort of like winging it here. Pun not intended. And just create like a bit of, like divide this up a little bit, because it feels like there's too much going on at the moment. So just sometimes adding these slightly like angular lines really can add to that sci-fi feel. But the main thing I was thinking about is the fact that the forward surfaces seem a little bit too narrow there, so they're quite wide on the image, they're quite oddly shaped too, but I'm going to start with just adding like a line here. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Back we go. Undo, undo, undo. And actually I think we're going to go all the way back to the extrusion on the wing itself. Okay, and we're actually going to select more of it, because it just felt like there was too much of this area forward of the wing section that's for the paneling. So let's see if we can go like 0.2, 0.2, then we can go here and just do maybe following the same theme but doing it on a smaller scale, like just something like this. Can go back in and clean that up later. Two. 0.2.2. There we go, we got some more definition going on. Let's see. You wish there was a no Min-Mei version. Min-Mei from the original is more mature than the one in the Robotech version, and the songs, despite being in Japanese, are not as like nauseating, I guess. Some of them, I don't like all of them, but on the whole I would choose Macross. Also, like the sequels, I think the thing is, hold out for Do You Remember Love, the movie version. You don't need to necessarily see the entire Macross series again. But as a primer, the sequels obviously for Macross follow the first Robotech series, not the ones that came after that. So they are very much worth watching. The animation varies because some were TV series, some had higher budgets than other ones. It's kind of like the Star Trek movies where like every other series is good. But on the whole, very good, especially if you start to accept some of the crazier stuff, because it's like, it does go hard with the music, can, you know, end wars, and music is literally a weapon in Macross 7, although Macross 7 gets kind of crazy. And you do see some of the original series characters popping up again. Not all of them, but some of them. From what I understand, Misa and well, in particular Hikaru, or Rick Hunter, the voice actor for him, died. So Kawamori said that they weren't going to do any series with those characters again, out of respect for their performances. But for example, Max and Amelia are characters in Macross 7. It actually focuses on their 7th daughter, Mylene, who wants to become a performer, and Basara, who is the one and only male Macross singer so far. And those songs rock, but the plot is bonkers as well, and very repetitive, and the first like 15 episodes are hard to get through, but then it really starts getting interesting. I don't know if this curve is a little too harsh. Like, I am technically following these lines, but it just feels a little bit off. Is it already 4 o'clock? I was in the right area. Oh, it's because it's at a different level. Okay, so what I'm going to do is leave that sort of curve where it is. So I'm going to maybe curve it off even a little bit more just by pulling this back a tiny bit. And we're actually just going to alter the other parts. So not that itself. There we go. That. And we'll go up. And then we have the rough outlines of our wing. So let's get the black background again for some high contrast. Obviously the symbols do need to be moved back again. And up a little. Let's see. I guess I'll give Macross a go, never gotten around to it. Like, the transforming robots, what's not to love? And so, especially Macross 7, I would say, has really good music. Frontiers got pretty decent, although it's much more modern Japanese sort of music, I guess, with a lot more... kind of sounds like one of those dance machines that they used to have in the video arcades, if you ask me what the style of music is like. So, all right. So here is where we are at. I'm really liking how it looks.
Yay.
I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I'm feeling it. This has probably got another 2 days of work in it to get it like production ready. But that is really good considering the timeline that we have. So we did have that initial mock-up session. We've done a nice compromise between the lovely version here in the 5th Frontier War, after all that's what we're doing, and the very much incongruent with that version in the small craft book, which is here. So you can kind of see that these whilst sharing similar DNA, don't quite match, and I kind of have mixed and matched the elements that I like the most. The tail fins I've changed a little bit as well. These, I call them radiators. I still might do something with these lines. It doesn't look fantastic, but yeah, let me know what you think in the comments section. Like and subscribe if you're not a regular to be notified next Friday when we go live again. Don't think we'll be working on this by that point, although excuse me, I do have a few days off next week to go to a Hans Zimmer concert in Stockholm. And as I've lost my voice though, we'll talk about all that on our Discord. Find the links below in the description. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. And, oh, Modhail, those symbols won't be integrated at all. They're just there for now for render purposes. They're not going to be on the actual ship. You would print out decals for that. So have a wonderful weekend, everyone. And I will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.